Actually gonna do my favorite section of the Bhagavad Gita, which is the very end of the Bhaggavad Gita. Not because I want the Bhagavad Gita to end, but because at the end, Krishna gives all kinds of really confidential instructions that almost cancel out everything he talked about previously. Not that it's completely canceled out, but that it's, if you're focusing on these very essential things, then a lot of the beginning level teachings are less relevant. So, or less prominent, so to say. It's always relevant, especially for those beginning their spiritual life. But anyway, so we're going to go to the end of the Bhagavad Gita and go to some verses that I just happen to love very much. So you guys can all repeat after me. Actually, Mukunda, lead everyone, while I find this, lead everyone in Om Namo Bhagavate.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All right. 1868 of Bhagavad Gita. Not the year, 1868. Chapter 18, text 68. So, repeat after me. Ya idam paramam guhyam.
I'm working on something too.
Madbhakteshva vidasyati. Madbhakteshva vidasyati. Bhaktim mayi param kritva. Mame vaishyatya samshayaha. Okay. So,
Which was your
1868.
I just
Very good. All right. Yaha. Repeat.
Yaha.
Anyone.
Anyone.
Idam.
Idam.
This.
This.
Paramam.
Paramam.
Most.
Most.
Guhyam.
Guhyam.
Confidential.
Confidential.
Mat.
Mat.
Mine.
Mine.
Bhakteshu.
Bhakteshu.
Amongst devotees of.
Amongst devotees.
Avidasyati.
Avidasyati.
Explains.
Explains.
Bhaktim.
Bhaktim.
Devotional service.
Devotional service.
Mai.
Mai.
Unto me.
Unto me.
Param.
Param.
Transcendental.
Transcendental.
Kritva.
Kritva.
Having done.
Having done.
Mam.
Mam.
Unto me.
Unto me.
Eva.
Eva.
Certainly.
Certainly.
Eshyati.
Eshyati.
Comes.
Comes.
Asamshayaha.
Asamshayaha.
Without doubt.
Without doubt.
Translation. For one who explains
For one who explains
the supreme secret
the supreme secret
to the devotees,
to the devotees,
devotional service
devotional service
is guaranteed,
is guaranteed,
and at the end, he will come back to me. All right. So what is the secret? Anyone know at this point?
Bhakti?
Bhakti is the secret, but he gives many tiers, levels of bhakti. But what's the supreme secret that he? What's that?
Prema.
Prema bhakti. That's definitely included. But you know what? If you want to know the exact secret, it's the most essential verse of Bhagavad Gita. Does anyone know what that is? We just did 1868. What's the most essential verse of Bhagavad Gita? No, it's actually right before that one. That one's mixed with a little bit of... Yeah, I'll explain why that's not the most important. It's Manmana Bhava Madbhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. This is in the 9th chapter and in the 18th chapter. These two lines are repeated. Why? Because it's the most essential instruction. And then he ends in the 65th verse of the 18th chapter. Mam evaishyasi satyam te pratijani priyosime. And it means not abandon. I was reading the one you recommended. Always think of me and become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. And he promises us this because we are his very dear friend, and he's specifically speaking to Arjuna, who absolutely is his very dear friend. So always think of Krishna, become his devotee, worship him and offer your homage up to him. And then you will come to him. And that's what he's interested in, all of us coming to him, having that relationship with him. But first he says, always think of me. Man mana bhava mad bhakto. So develop with love, with bhav. Engage the mind. Man mana. So, and mat bhakta. This is the devotee. So we're trying to follow this, and those who offer these secrets to others, what did he just say? They're guaranteed to go back to Krishna. What is waiting for us back with Krishna? What's the point? Why do I want to go back to Krishna? I'm having a lot of fun in this material world. I don't want to get into too much jnana, but there's really not much fun. Yeah. I mean, the Krishna Satchidananda. We have an eternal existence with Krishna. It's full of knowledge and it's full of bliss, full of supreme consciousness. But here is the opposite of that. Everything's temporary. It's not eternal. It's full of ignorance. We think we're enjoying something, and then we actually understand the real nature of that thing, and then it becomes detestable. That's why there's so many divorces and breakups and losing your job, and this thing falls through, that thing falls through, so on, so many things. Because we actually don't understand the thing we're chasing, and then we actually once we realize it, we're, oh my God, man, I don't know what I was getting myself into. And then last, instead of bliss, being full of bliss, like in Krishna's realm, it's full of what? Misery. Yeah, that's the unfortunate part of life. There's miseries at every step. What are the threefold miseries of this world? I'll give you the Sanskrit. Adi Atmik, Adi Bautik, and Adi Daivik. Atma, what's Atma? The self. So Adi Atmik misery would be?
Self-imposed.
Yes, the misery is actually of the body and mind, what we identify as the self. So I've had my mouth has had some, it's been very tender, and I've been swishing oregano oil constantly to try and disinfect my mouth. But this is just an example of an adhyatmic misery. My body is causing me some misery. People's mind is causing the misery. Depression is on the rise. Negativity. Everyone is, stress, depression, all of these things that people are struggling with. These are adhyatmic miseries. And then what's adibhotic misery? Yes, miseries caused by others. It's an example. A mosquito is coming and sucking your blood.
Someone cuts you off.
Yeah, someone cuts you off. So many people. Someone breaks your heart. Someone is mean to you. Someone does this, that, and the other. It's not going anywhere other than the school project, by the way. I know you're worried about that thing. But no problem. So anyway, and then what's adidaivik misery? Yeah, we just had this in, hurricanes and ice storms and blizzards and volcanoes and tidal waves and, just the elements, the world, doing its thing, and then eventually it will cause many people miseries, Rishi, you just look so handsome when you shave up. I love this very much. Many years younger you look. So you're like me. Whenever I shave, I'm many, many years younger. So very good. So those who explain the supreme secret to the devotees, they will come back to Krishna, and that's the very basic, is they're going to be beyond miseries, which is really exciting because most of us don't like miseries that much. We don't like this misery, but you can actually, even in this body right here, right now, you can be beyond misery. It's actually, like Johnny Depp says in Pirates of the Caribbean, it's not the problem that's the problem, right? It's the attitude about the problem. That was my best impersonation. Yes, but right there, right? So that's actually the truth. It's not actually the problems that are the problem in the material world. It's how we view everything. But we can't just artificially be like, nothing's a problem, but have no real foundation which to stand on. and just artificially try and be like, yeah, everything's fine, but if you don't actually have the consciousness that will give you the 100% confidence that everything is fine, it'll all just be artificial, just be pretend. So that consciousness is that you're deeply in connection with Krishna. You're Krishna conscious. Then actually everything is fine. If you're actually conscious of Krishna, all is good. No problem. Everything's an opportunity to go deeper into bhakti. The problem is we're not always Krishna conscious. And we get very temporarily conscious. This problem with my relative. Oh, this problem with my work. Oh, this problem with my girlfriend or boyfriend, or this thing and that thing and the other. And we're focusing on temporary situations. And then we become Maya conscious instead. Temporary conscious, the illusory conscious. These fleeting things will do nothing but come and go in the world. That's all they do. So for you to focus on them and become conscious of them, you've deprived yourself of, you've guaranteed yourself misery. So don't do like that. Hello. Hare Krishna. What is your name?
Vrindavan Chandra Das.
Vrindavan Chandra Das. Where are you coming from?
Just Tatashta Shakti.
Oh, Jai. Where is the body journeying from?
I'm just staying with Jenna.
Oh.
Jenna.
Oh, very good. Is Jen coming?
No, they're preparing for a program
Oh,
tonight with
wow.
their meditation teacher.
So, very
I don't
cool.
want to miss the opportunity.
Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu. So you know what? Actually, someone was talking about you yesterday, and I thought it was our friend Keshava Gopal they were talking about. But it ended up not being him, and it's you. You are the mystery that I was like, who is this person who's from You're from North Carolina?
No.
Oh.
I did come from North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Today, yes.
Yeah, someone described someone who came from North Carolina who had a mridanga and was playing the mridanga. And I was like, how do I not know this person? I thought it was our friend Keshava Gopal. I'm like, why would he literally owns this house. Like, why would he come here and not tell me? I was like upset. And then,
Oh, wow. Perfect.
so, but it's you. You are the mystery person. That's so funny. Well, welcome, Vrindavan Chandra. We are talking about Bhagavad Gita, 1868. How the one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to him. So Prabhupada is very short purport, so we'll just read it. Generally it is advised that Bhagavad Gita be discussed amongst the devotees only, for those who are not devotees will neither understand Krishna nor Bhagavad Gita. Those who do not accept Krishna as he is and Bhagavad Gita as it is should not try to explain Bhagavad Gita whimsically and become offenders. Bhagavad Gita should be explained to persons who are ready to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is a subject matter for the devotees only and not for philosophical speculators. Anyone, however, who tries sincerely to present Bhagavad Gita as it is will advance in devotional activities and reach the pure devotional state of life. As a result of such pure devotion, he is sure to go back home, back to Godhead. So that is our destination, to be back home, back to Godhead. Now, what that looks like, there's how to naturally transition into doing that. It's not so well understood by the common populace of devotees, but in, say, like the Raghavartma Chandrika, Vishwanath Chakrabarti actually explains this process, what that'll look like. Prabhupada explains it in the Krishna book as well, where you will have to be trained to go back to Godhead. So you will go back to Godhead in such a way that you will join some of the confidential devotees and take birth in a very, like for instance, as a Vrajadasi in a universe that Krishna comes in, and so on. But I'm not going to go so much into detail. That's not the necessary track of where we're going. But this next verse is very important. In text 69, there is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. So actually, this is what prema is. This is what love is. Not necessarily being dear to Krishna, but the endeavor to want to please Krishna. This is the difference between kama, lust, and prema, which is what the goal. This is the goal of bhakti yoga, is to achieve this prema. And so Krishna is telling you how one can be so dear to him, is to explain this to others, to explain the devotional secrets to others. So you're all devotees here, actually. Very nice. This is Krishna's arrangement on Kartik. And even a devotee from North Carolina was started in North Carolina, and now here this is has also entered. So this is so nice that Krishna has arranged that everyone here is quite devotionally inclined, or I may make the ninth offense to the holy name. But this is actually the truth, that when we explain the intimate secrets of Krishna to others, this is the greatest mercy we can give them. It's actually the greatest mercy we can do for ourselves either, as well. I'll like give an example in my life. You know, I was very well read. I like to read a lot, but I was a little hesitant to share. And plus, I was also in an environment where others were much more experienced than me in sharing. So I was like, well, you know, it's not my position to share. It's all their position to share. But somehow or other, Krishna arranged me to become here, and you know, somehow or other, I was the most experienced person in the room most of the time. So I was forced, like, okay, I should probably share. And I'll tell you, sharing became the best process for me. This is why it is Sankirtan. Harinam Sankirtan is our number one process as the Yuga Dharma. Because by sharing, by actually giving kirtan to others, it forces you, one, to rehear it. You have to, okay, if I'm going to come up here and share something, I should hear something first. And then two, when you share something, you remember it. You know, like if I tell something to say Shivadas, and I start explaining something to Shivadas, I'm rehearing it, and then, you know, I'll remember it. Now others are over here, and I told this person. Every time I see that person, I'm like reminded of the advice that I gave them, and that's good. You know, so this is the wonderful process of sharing, which is what kirtan means. Kirtan. Everyone, you know, loosely in the yoga world, everyone thinks kirtan just means chanting or just calling. But kirtan literally means to glorify. So to glorify means to share. I'm sharing, you know, the glories of the Lord. That's what glorifying is. So when you take to this process of sharing, it is a very, very, very powerful process. And it will enhance all of your bhakti processes. And that's why they said if you had to choose, you know, they say the 9 processes are very good. There's 64 processes that are very good. But, you know, if you had to choose 3, what are the 3 topmost processes? Tanmay, Hare Krishna. What are the top 3 most processes of bhakti? Yes. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padase. Smaranam, that's the 3rd. And then, so, Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Smaranam. And of all 3, what's the best?
Well, you have to hear to be able to hear it.
Yes, but what do our acharyas say?
Kirtan.
Kirtanam is the best. Even if you don't know anything else. Prabhupada had so much to share. But in the beginning, no one was so interested in all the things he really wanted to share. So he just says, okay, let me just go out and do kirtan of the holy name. And then boom, all the hippies, and next thing you know, a worldwide movement had taken place. And not even really sharing that much knowledge. He was giving plenty of knowledge, but not, you know, mostly the holy name in the beginning, you know, and prasadam. People love prasadam. So this is the secret. But we want to be very dear. We want to be very dear to Krishna. Means that we please Krishna. And this is actually the goal, is that we do something to please Krishna. So, okay, how do we do it? How do we do it? What is the process here?
We sit here and listen to you.
Wow. So you're not going to get very far doing that. But I can maybe guide you somewhere. That might be a start. At least here in Syracuse at Mantra Central, that might be your best entry-level activity. But, you know, we should have access to 3 things. One, the Shastras. You know, this will tell us who Krishna is, what are the conclusions of Krishna. The people who understand the Shastras, called what? Sadhus, or the saintly people. And then of all those saintly people, the one who is giving the most potent instruction and probably the most experienced, he can be? Guru. Yes, this is the process, the spiritual master. At least the Diksha Guru. And you can take many shiksha instructions from many sadhus. So this is our process. This is said to be of all the limbs of devotional service, especially the 64 limbs mentioned in Nectar of Devotion, which is the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Accepting of a spiritual master is so prominent right in the beginning. So we should try and find really potent instructors, mentors, and ultimately surrendering, because as Meghna said, we skipped one verse but there was an important verse. I said it wasn't the most important verse of Bhagavad Gita for one reason. Because 1865, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto is always think of me, worship me, offer your homage unto me. This is the most important essence. And this is kind of like auxiliary. But then there's Sarvadharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Yishyami Ma Suchaha, which means what? Yes, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. And this is why it's not the most important. What are the next ones? I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions, do not fear. And the reason why this actually takes it out of the realm of pure bhakti, believe it or not. Because the realm of pure bhakti is you don't even care about any type of reactions. As long as you are pleasing Krishna, that's the devotee's mentality. But in the beginning, we often have Mishra Bhakti or some form of mixed Bhakti. Okay, I'm doing Bhakti because I don't want to get punished by the hand of God. I don't want the wrath of God to keep smashing me anymore. So I'm very fearful. Like Arjuna was very fearful of sinful reactions. I don't want to get sinful reactions like this. So Krishna's assuring that type of devotee, don't worry, I'll deliver you from a sinful reaction. But actually the pure devotee is, like for instance the gopis, there's a nice pastime of Narada Muni, Krishna having a headache in Dwarka and he needed help. I think he was talking to Narada Muni and he says, I need the dust of my devotees to cure my headache. That was the remedy he needed. So Narada Muni said, I cannot put my dust of my feet on your head, I'll go to hell. And then Krishna says, well, find me a devotee who can. So he went all over the place asking this devotee, that devotee, great devotees all over the universe. And no one wanted to do, no, I'm not going to hell, no way. And then so they went to Vrindavan and they met the gopis. And then they said, oh, this will cure his headache? Fine, take all the dust. And they gave all the dust that they could. Because they don't care about going to hell. They don't care about any type of sinful reaction. They actually, they just want to please Krishna. So naturally they don't go to hell. They go to the topmost place. But because they're willing to risk everything, any other consideration for Krishna's pleasure. And this is the topmost level of prema. So that would be very nice. But there's one more verse from the Bhagavatam now I want to share. I'm going to backtrack here. Or not backtrack, forward track to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita naturally leads you into Srimad Bhagavatam. And in our Srimad Bhagavatam study here, we're on Canto 1, we're on Chapter 7. But this teaching I'm going to share is all the way in the 31st chapter of the 10th canto. And it's actually the Gopi Gita. 31:9. So let me just pull that up here. So this is a very nice verse. Actually, for some of the devotees who know, this actually verse was quoted. Because everyone's devotees in the room and everyone likes a little trivia. I'll let the devotees guess who quoted this verse. He's very popular for quoting this verse. So anyway, in Chaitanya Lila. So anyway, Tava katamritam tapta jivanam kavi viriditam kama sapaham Shravana mangalam srimaratatam bhuvi grananti e burida janaha. The nectar of your words and the descriptions of your activities are the life and soul of those suffering in this material world. These narrations transmitted by learned sages eradicate one's sinful reactions and bestow good fortune upon whoever hears them. These narrations are broadcast all over the world and are filled with spiritual power. Certainly those who spread the message of Godhead are most munificent. So back to how dear, one, those who spread the message of Godhead are very dear to Krishna. And then also it says here that they're the most munificent. They're the most generous. They're the most kind, merciful unto others. They're those who are spreading the message of Godhead. So another proof for kirtan. Do kirtan. This is our process here. Share. Glorify the Lord. You have others you can share this with. You want to actually be munificent to someone, generous to somebody? Share the Lord with them. A lot of times we can get really caught up in what's so-called known as bridge preaching. And we get so caught up trying to build the bridge that we just stay on the bridge and we never actually get anywhere. I've done this so many times through my yoga teaching and things like that I've done in my life. But actually, if we can become successful in actually getting them to that conclusion of that Bhagavad Gita is reaching. Hello, come on in. What is your name, my friend?
Arjun.
Arjun, wow, you're perfect. We're reading Bhagavad Gita. So this is just for you.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Come on in. Now we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. But first of all, this is going to be the life and soul for those suffering in the material world. Am I the only one suffering in the material world? Yeah, it's just me. Okay, well, I'll take this for myself. You guys can figure something else out. No. We're all suffering in the material world. So these Krishna's words, Krishna's shiksha, his instructions, and his lila, his descriptions of his activities, are going to be the life and soul for those suffering. If you want to overcome suffering, just hear about Krishna's pastimes. You'll get inspired. Every time you do this, if you're going through something, just open up. Did everyone have this Krishna book here we have about the pastimes of Krishna? It's what a gift Srila Prabhupada left for the people of this world. Every time you're suffering, just hear one of Krishna's pastimes and just see how easily it goes away. This I guarantee you can test this out yourself. Anytime you're suffering, just go for it and see what happens. See if you still have the perspective of suffering. You won't, because the perspective of suffering is usually becoming, it's very bodily engrossed or mentally engrossed. Things of the temporary things of this world. But when you hear things of the spiritual world, that isn't present, and you'll get such a higher perspective. And sometimes, like the gopis right now who are speaking this, they're suffering, but in separation from Krishna. That's a different type of suffering. And actually, by hearing of their suffering, you stop suffering. You're like, wow, this is wonderful. But you just try it for yourself. You see. So these narrations transmitted by learned sages eradicate one's sinful reactions. Another, by abandoning all other dharma. We have so many activities we could be doing in the world. So many things. But by abandoning all other dharma and just surrendering unto Krishna, that means you want to hear his words, you want to know about his pastimes, you want to know about his forms, you want to call his holy name, you want to meditate on him, always think of him. There's so many people, everyone's saying, no, you should do this, you should do that. I remember when I first started this, I was really attracted to this because I was like, wait, I don't have to work a regular job? You're telling me there's a group of people that don't work regular jobs? I was very attracted to this in the beginning because I was kind of hippie and I was like so much anti what? Yeah, anti-establishment. The 9-to-5 rat race. I'm not getting into that, man. No way. I really didn't want that. But luckily for me, there was something out there for me. And I still have to do all kinds of duties in the world. I'm not free of the duties. Actually, when I first started this, I thought, I was like, this is going to be perfect. I'll get all my needs covered, and I'll have so much free time. And Krishna, his name is Hari. When we chant Hare, Hare means one who takes away. And one of the things he takes away is all your time. All of your time is gone, I go to bed every night with, I at least have some rounds to do. I have this reading. I have something I have to do. Every night I'm like, oh my God, I can't even go to bed, because I have things I have to finish. So Krishna will steal all your time. But I happily give my time now at this point. In the beginning, I was I was not happy to give my I was not happy to give my time. I wanted all my time I could, because I wanted to play video games, I want to do this thing, I want to do that thing. But, this is a very purifying process. So eventually these could become your life and soul, actually. They should become your life and soul. If you're actually interested in removing all suffering, eradicating all of the sinful reactions that we're all accruing. Every time something bad happens in your life, that's karma. That's part of your karma. You have to accept that. You've earned it, actually. We've all earned it. Now, we're not trying to be callous. We're not trying to be mean. Oh, all the cancer of babies and this, and you're trying to tell people, oh, yes, you've earned this thing. No. But fact of the matter is, we all the spiritual traditions, like Jesus says, you reap what you sow. What you've done in previous lives, what you've done in the beginning of this life, what you've done in all of your activities, what you get is what you get. You've earned that. Now, there's a different process for us. Krishna will abandon. He'll eradicate all of that system. That's what eradicating sinful reactions is. It's eradicating karma. So actually, anyone who's chanting Hare Krishna, you're eradicating karma. This is such a wonderful thing. But that's not why we do it. When we're more on a material level, might be why we do it. Because I'm interested in getting out of my sins. But actually, the devotees are only interested in pleasing the Lord. They don't care. Like the gopis, I just told the story. They're ready to go to hell. If I go to hell for this, no problem. But will he be pleased? No problem. I'll do anything. So this is the topmost level of devotion. We can't expect to be like gopis. Even though our acharyas might be very pleased if that was our destination. And at least most of them admit that was their destination. But anyway, I won't go too much into that. Now, does anyone know who this verse was recited to in Chaitanya Lila? Who recited this verse to who? It's a very, very, very popular pastime. I'll give you a hint. There was someone who was very eager to meet Lord Chaitanya.
King Prataparudra.
Yes, King Prataparudra. So King Prataparudra was a king, and he wanted to meet Lord Chaitanya like anything. He saw how he was the king of Jagannath Puri. And Puri is like one of the amazing holy places in India. And so King Prataparudra, he really wanted to meet Lord Chaitanya. But Lord Chaitanya was like, no, I'll never meet him. He's a materialistic man. He's a king. He's filled with wealth and women and all these things. I won't meet with him. I'm a sannyasi. I'll get criticized very heavily if I meet with him. So King Prataparudra is distraught, and he's like trying to, by hook or crook, meet with Lord Chaitanya. He's going up to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Ramananda Roy, please do anything. Please let me meet with him. And so the first Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, well, I'll agree, I'll meet his son, no problem. So he meets his son, and his son becomes ecstatic on meeting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that only makes King Prataparudra want to meet him even more. And he says, no, I'll never meet with the king, though. No way. Lord Chaitanya, he's a trickster, because he's really just churning out King Prataparudra's love even more and more and more. So finally, the king of Puri, he was advised by the devotees. He's like, you have to catch Lord Chaitanya when he's in a good mood, and he is lost in devotional ecstasy, and he won't be able to protest. So they said, you should dress like this. After the Ratha Yatra, Lord Chaitanya is so lost in ecstasy, and whenever he will sit, he will come and he will rest at this garden here. And after swooning in devotional ecstasy from chanting before the Lord for hours. Many of us went to the Ratha Yatra this year in both Philly and New York. And after dancing for so many hours, it really... there's a video actually, Shivadas was in the video. There's a video of me and the president of Philadelphia. We're all like dancing in a circle. And I'm like, wow, that's a really ecstatic video. But at the time, it was so nice. But this is... so Lord Chaitanya, he is resting there in the garden. in King Prataparudra, he was like, well, I can't introduce myself as a king. I have to hide myself. By hook or by crook, the Prema Bhakta, he will achieve his goal. Actually, we have to also become, we're not trying, like, this was the fault of the Brahmins' wives in the Krishna's pastimes. They wanted to meet with Krishna, and they abandoned everything to go meet with Krishna. But then Krishna was saying, no, my dear ladies, this is adharmic. You should not do like this. Please go back. So then they actually took his instructions, which was fine. It was good. It's a level of devotion, a high level of devotion. But the gopis did something different. They came out also to meet Krishna when he called. This is the Ras Leela, right? You know this. And then Krishna says, no, this is very impious. Women should be serving their husbands at home. What are you doing? Why are you coming late at night? Yes, I am the Supreme Lord. And it's very fitting that you would want to be very attracted to coming to me, but this is not good behavior for women like yourselves. So by hook and by crook, they argued with Krishna and actually established their arguments with why they should stay with Krishna. And he actually was defeated by their love and then their eagerness to stay with Krishna. But King Prataparudra was also, which actually he took some of the words of the gopis during the Gopi Gita, which was part of that whole grander pastime. And he chanted this verse, actually. This was the verse. And he began chanting this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was already lost in devotional ecstasy. And when he hears this being chanted with King Prataparudra's eagerness, his own bhava, his own really deep devotional mood, he was completely conquered, and he runs. Who is this man chanting so beautifully? And he runs and embraces King Prataparudra, and King Prataparudra is like rolling in ecstasy, and everyone is so happy. But this was actually the verse. So we should try and understand. This is actually can be our life and soul. We should be sharing, hearing. First, hearing it has to be done. Yes, this is true. But we should be sharing the words and descriptions of the activities of the Lord. Our life should be a part of our life, a prominent part of our life. I've noticed this in my life that even yesterday, on Friday, we were so tired. We went to Rochester, and Rochester is quite far, so we went there and we got back very late. And I didn't go to bed till like 12:30, which my bedtime is usually like 10 o'clock. So I was very tired, and we still had to get up, do Mangal Arati, do the whole thing again. And so I was like, you know what, we're gonna skip Bhagavatam class today. That was my what I was going to do. But somehow or other, Holly actually came, and for the morning program. Holly's been coming for the morning programs, and it's my job actually. If someone comes here to participate in the program, then we should have the program. So I only chanted like 2 or 3 rounds by the time Bhagavatam class was there, which is not good for me to get everything I want to get done throughout the day. But I saw that Holly was here. I was like, you know what? We have to read Bhagavatam. So we discussed on Bhagavatam, and it was the perfect verse and the perfect purport, and it was just it was me, Holly, Parth, and Tanmay, and I could just feel it. There was so much potency in the discussion on actually what we discussed about our place in this material world. It was kind of how we were all in like a figurative prison. And how really the goal of the prisoner should be to please the warden, to get out of the prison. But the way Prabhupada is describing and the way we were just going through it all, it was like the most exhilarating part of my day. And I could tell it was really impactful for the others listening in as well. So, moral of the story is that I was totally trying to skip it, but Krishna was like, no, don't skip this thing. This is the one thing of the day you should not skip. And yes, I did finish my rounds an hour and a half later than I wanted to last night because I couldn't manage my time that way. But like I said, it was the most meaningful part of my day. And so this should become actually the life and soul of the devotees. At least it should become some part of the devotee's life. Take time to hear, but also share. This service has been so wonderful for me for that exact reason, is that I'm given an opportunity to regularly share the Lord's pastimes. And not just pastimes, but His teachings, His descriptions, His forms, everything. Name, form, qualities, pastimes. And ultimately, I've seen it diffuse my suffering, but I've seen many others, their suffering has been relieved in this way. And I promise you, if you're suffering, just hear about the Lord and His teachings and pastimes. If you're suffering, you're just not hearing enough. If you, that's all. That's the problem. The problem is you're not hearing enough about the Lord. If you hear about the Lord, that will overcome any suffering. I promise you this. And the gopis are promising you this. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and King Prataparudra are promising you this. And we saw it with King Prataparudra, because he was suffering because the Lord wouldn't accept him. And then he shares this verse, and then the Lord finally was conquered by him. And so finally, we're going to come to actualization of this thing. And what actualization means is that, okay, we have information now, yes, share the Lord's pastimes. But I would do a great crime if I just ended it there and didn't actually share any of the Lord's pastimes. So now I will actually share one of the Lord's pastimes. You guys have heard of Damodara Leela? Or maybe the Dhammabandhana Leela? Yes, so here we go. I've been recently reading a book on the Damodarastakam with Sanatan Goswami's commentary on it, and it's very, very nice. So I will share some of the intricacies that were shared with me, and actually there's been illuminations by both Srila Narayan Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada's Sannyas Guru Om Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj in this book. So I'll share some of the things I had never heard before in the telling of this pastime. So this is a pastime. We sing about it. We sing the Damodarastakam every day. Namam Ishwaram Sachidananda Rupam Asat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam. So we're singing this every day in Kartik. Am I the only one singing this every day? I know we're forcing everyone at the ashram to sing it every day. But everyone during Kartik month, this is a very, very, very potent prayer. And actually, I read this book that in this book that actually one of the goals of Srila Prabhupada's Sannyas Guru was to make this prayer so popularized, not only during Kartik, but that devotees could recite this every day and get great benefit from this prayer of Satyavrata Muni, describing this Leela. So I will do my best to just describe a little bit of what I've heard of this Leela. So this Leela is the secret on how to conquer God. But it's not how you think. You're not... Anyone ever think, I'm going to try and conquer God? No. Most people are not so foolish. Except maybe the atheists who don't believe in God. But actually, we can conquer God. He is very happy to be conquered by us as well. But there's only one thing that can actually conquer Him. Does anyone know what it is? Praying, yes. The love of the devotee is the only thing that can conquer God. It's the only thing. You cannot do it with tricks. A lot of us, we try and conquer God with tricks. But it's said in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is the greatest cheater. He will not win. We try and think, okay, I'll offer a little bit of worship. Here's my lamp. And I'll pretend like I'm giving so much worship. But I know you're going to, maybe this will entice Krishna to give me that material thing that I want. You cannot trick Krishna into the material things that you want. He is only conquered with love. But that's a very intimate science. There's a science on how to achieve love. It first starts with faith. And then through faith, you'll actually want to go meet with other and hear from saintly people. That's called what? Sadhu Sangha. And that's the most important watering process of the creeper of bhakti. Without sadhu sangha, yeah, no chance. Even us here, we're trying to lead a center, and that often means that a lot of times we have to be the devotees that are probably the most studied or something, in the room time to time. By good fortune today, I'm pretty sure Vrindavan Chandra must know much more than I do about devotion. That's my hunch from what I'm gathering about him. And he's probably very humble, and he said, no. But I bet you if you all go and talk to Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu, I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised. So I've never met him before, but I just feel this. So like, he's more advanced than I am. So that's the feeling I'm getting. So I will go explore that hunch later, and I'll let you know what I find. So, but we must do this sadhu sangha. We must meet with devotees who are more experienced than we are, and we should hear from them. And this is the only way me and my wife have been able to keep going, is associating with other devotees who are able to inspire us and keep us moving forward and help us increase and advance our bhakti. This is the watering process mentioned by Vishwanath Chakravarti in how to keep growing the bhakti creeper. If you do not do this, if you're the smartest person in the room, so to say, and even the big business guys, they say, you find a new room. So the same thing with the devotees. If you're the most devotionally advanced in the room, you better find a new room. You have to find devotees who are more advanced so you can make advancement. Yes, it's very merciful of you to try and serve the acharyas by helping the others make advancement. But you also have to take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, what help can you give to anybody else? So sadhu sangha is there. And then sadhu sangha will encourage you to do bhajana kriya. They'll say, hey, you should chant, you should read, you should associate with devotees, you should do this thing, you should do that thing and the other thing. So then you just start doing all these things. But then there's all kinds of obstacles in your mind, there's all kinds of obstacles. You're so used to doing material things instead of spiritual things. So all those tendencies to do material things instead is the process of anartha nivritti. Unwanted or artha is wealth, anartha is that which is not valuable. All the things coming up, distracting you that are unvaluable in your life. Just some basic ones, sports, politics, mundane gossip, talks of, mundane things that are temporary, that ultimately lead to misery, as we talked about earlier in the class. So there's a whole process of anartha nivritti and overcoming this. And then finally, you might just get through, you keep coming with sadhu sangha, you keep doing your bhajana kriya, you keep the faith as strong as you can through these things. And you might come to the process of nishtha, where you're fixed now. Now you have a fixed practice, you're following a teacher, you're following a system, you're following guidance, and you're fixed. And even though, sometimes it feels like a chore or work, a lot of times, even for me, I get back at 12:30 the other day on Friday, and I wasn't in bliss that, we have to start our morning program at 5:30 now. I was not in bliss. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to. I woke up out of my bed, and I really did not want to, I actually did get back in the bed, if I remember correctly. And we started the program a half an hour later. But still, we should try to find a way to be fixed. And so they say that when we become very fixed, that something called ruchi, or a really deep taste for these activities, come. I've only experienced this in very minute quantities in my life. If I can be honest with you, that there's, this is where I'm trying to be. I'm trying to get fixed in my practices and develop some ruchi, some taste for what I'm doing. But I find actually that some of my most joyous times of the day are in the midst of my fixed activities. And I find one example is every day we get up and we do Mangalarti. And so we're coming from the ISKCON background, so we do the Gaurvastika by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, and then we just do a basic kirtan, and we chant before the deities every day for maybe 20-25 minutes. And I find I do the same thing every day. It's the same thing. Some might get bored of that. But I find every day especially when I sing, I really like to sing, I do the deity worship. I'm still a bit new at that, but I do the deity worship. But I always am like, oh, Risha, you do deity worship. Michael, you're here, you do deity worship. And Mukunda, you're here, please do the deity worship. Well, because I like to sing. That's where the most taste is. And when I sing during this time, I'm very very much encouraged by all the different varieties and different tunes and the ways I can sing. I'm doing the same activity, but there's so much actual variety and freedom to do anything and everything. In relation, obviously, I'm chanting Hare Krishna, I'm doing the same thing. But there's infinite amounts of ways I can chant Hare Krishna or go through the process, and I find so much joy in how to do that. And that's just a small example of how I've been able to find a little ruchi, a little taste in a fixed practice. But anyway, this fixity, and also in Srimad Bhagavatam, sharing Bhagavatam has been giving me a lot of taste lately as well, which is this verse, what it's all about. How important hearing about the descriptions and the Lord's words and His activities are. And how actually, to the highest level, they should become our life and soul, like the gopis. So, back to before I spoil the whole activity of me actually sharing a pastime. But the point was that after you develop taste, you'll develop a shakti, or a really deep attachment for what you've cultivated, or the Lord has allowed you to cultivate. And that a shakti will blossom further into bhav, really deep spiritual sentiments for the Lord. And that bhav will further blossom into prem. So much actual love for the Lord. And this is a science, of how it comes. It's not like a whimsical thing, like, oh, I'm just going to go easily achieve prem. There are ways to skip a few steps. There are pathways to do that. I won't go too much into them. I'm not as trained in them. It's called the Raga Nuga path. I'm not as trained in that path as I would like to be. That's a project of mine. But yes, you need a really, really good guidance in that path. But there is a path for all of us we can take, and I just kind of explained it, how to get towards prem. But it first starts with, some faith, and then sadhu sangha, what you guys are doing. And then let us give you some tips on some activities you could do that'll make your life better. And this is one of the activities. Hear, and share about the descriptions, the names, the forms, the qualities, all the things you can about the Lord. This will give so much bliss to you. So, here's the pastime that we're going to sing, Damodar Leela. So Krishna, he is a naughty boy, to say the least. This is one of the qualities of Krishna. But he's naughty for good reason. He's naughty because he wants to give pleasure to the devotees. And so Krishna has a group of devotees called the Vatsalya Bhaktas, who are like his parents, or those who see Krishna as inferior to them. This is little Krishna in my family, and I have to take care of Krishna. This is the prime ones are Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. And Mother Yashoda is the chief most. So Mother Yashoda actually has the most affection for Krishna in this way. And so Krishna is, playing one day, and Mother Yashoda actually wants to feed Krishna. And Krishna, I think, somehow awoke from a nap or something, and he wanted Mother Yashoda's feeding. So she says, no problem. But she's also doing many things. She's preparing milk on the stove. She's got the butter hanging over here. She's doing all of her activities. So she hears Krishna, calling for her. So she comes, and as mothers do, they give their breast. And little Krishna is suckling, and he's very happy. He's very happy suckling. But then Mother Yashoda actually, it's described that the milk in Vrindavan, it said that everyone has personality, even the milk, the ropes, the trees, the clothes. Everyone has a type of personality. So the milk, it said, that was very upset that its service was not going to be useful now, because Mother Yashoda was just giving Krishna all the milk from the breast. So then the milk decided, I must commit suicide. So the milk overboiled. And so, but actually Mother Yashoda didn't want this milk to commit suicide, because she knew I had a seva for you. And the seva, she was going to prepare really nice milk products for Krishna, maybe sweets and so many things. So she said, no, you cannot commit suicide. So she put suckling Krishna down. And this very much upset Krishna, because he's very, very happy with because she's so much lovingly suckling Krishna. She's so happy to give her breast milk, just like mothers are so happy to serve their children. So she's so happy to serve Krishna suckling like this. So now Krishna is very, very upset. And he begins to cry, but Mother Yashoda is no, please. I'm taking care of this. This is actually for your good. I'm doing this for you. I will better serve you like this. So Krishna, he throws like a little temper tantrum. And he did two things. He ran into the other room and he picked up a little stone. And then he decides, I'll show her. And he throws a little rock at a pot of yogurt. And he breaks the pot of yogurt. And then he continues on forward, and there's a hanging pot of butter. And then he climbs up and he steals from the butter. And he invites all the little monkeys who are coming around too to come eat the butter. So then the monkeys are eating butter and this and that and the other. And he's very happy. He's eating butter, monkey's eating butter, he's feeding the monkey the butter. This is Krishna's path. And if you go to Vrindavan, you'll actually realize, this is actually could very well be the case, because monkeys are everywhere in Vrindavan. They're actually thugs in Vrindavan. Like if you'll get jumped by monkeys. It happened twice. Don't ever wear a hat when you go out into the, what is that place? Yeah, towards Loi Bazaar, but what are all those...
Oh, Sevakund.
The place with all the trees. That's why you can't wear things around.
Well, Nidhivan is one, but just all of the inner alleyways of Vrindavan, towards all Banki Bihari, all those temples there. Don't wear hats there, because they will. Every time I wear a hat there, I get jumped by a monkey for a hat. My hat. So anyway, glasses, phones. They're thugs there. Just go as empty-handed as possible. So anyway. In Krishna's pastimes, the monkeys are pretty friendly. So, the monkeys are giving Krishna all this, affection, because he's giving them butter, and it's so sweet. And, Krishna's like trying to teach Mother Yashoda a lesson for how could you, reject my seva, even though Shiva's giving a better seva. It's all for Leela. Krishna is doing these things out of affection for everybody. So then Mother Yashoda, she realizes, where is Krishna gone now? And she sees now that there's a pot of broken butter, or yogurt, and she's like, what? This boy? What? He thinks he can just break the yogurt? And then she finds Krishna in the other room feeding the monkeys, and she scatters the monkeys and they all run away. And she starts chastising Krishna, and Krishna has a back and forth little toddler discussion with her. And saying, oh, no. She's like, what, you think you can come here and eat the butter and feed the butter to the monkeys? And she's like, no, mother, the monkeys were stealing the butter. I was only trying to stop them. So he's like a little liar like that. Yes, God is a liar. What can be said? All to please the devotees. Only with the Vatsalya devotees and the Vrajavasis. That's the only place that makes Krishna a liar. But only because it's very pleasing activities. He's like, no, mother, I did not do that. The monkeys, they were in here taking the butter. I was trying to, stop them. So they're going back and forth. And she says, no, you're definitely, I see you, the evidence is that you're eating the butter. Because he had butter on his face. And he's like, oh, now I'm busted. So then Mother Yashoda says, that's it. You're bad. I'm going to tie you up. I guess this was a way that the ancient Indian mothers used to punish their children. You're going to get tied. So she found a spice, a mortar. And the mortar is like a big heavy thing. In the top there's like a hole, and you can like grind spices in it. And so she finds this thing and she ties Krishna to the mortar. Or she tried to tie Krishna to the mortar. What's that? Oh yes, that's why we're chanting these things. That's what the song we're going to do. That's right. So, before that, well yes, but even before she caught Krishna with the butter, Krishna, it's described in the, Rudantam mohor netra yugmam rajantam kadam boja yugmena shatanka netram muhushvasa kampatri rekanka kanta slita grivam damo dadam bhakti badham. So in this verse it actually is describing Krishna running in fear, trembling at hearing his mother coming, and he's dashing away. I should have mentioned this is a very important part of the pastime, where Krishna is actually trying to run from his mother. And this is God. This isn't like, this isn't an ordinary person. So Krishna is trying to run from his mother, but, God should be able to easily outrun anybody. And what's to speak of a woman, an ordinary woman like mother. He should definitely be able to outrun him. But this is not the case, because she has a superpower. What is her superpower? How can you conquer God? Vatsalya Prem. So she has this. So with her prem, she's actually able, and also it's also described that the flowers in her hair, remember everyone's personality in Vrindavan, the flowers in her hair, they say, they said, we will help you, we'll lighten your load, and they scattered from her hair. And Krishna's running as fast as his little toddler body can go. Mother Yashoda's running, but now she's gaining traction on him, going faster than he is. And then she catches him. And then she chastises him, and they go through the discussion about the butter. And he was saying, no, mother, I was just trying to stop the monkeys. And so anyway, she catches him in his lies, and then she decides, you are going to be punished today.
She was so charmed.
What?
She was so charmed.
Yes, she was charmed.
And she only punished him, so he didn't get himself in trouble.
Yes. That's fine. I suppose. I didn't exactly read that, but so yes, why actually? I heard she was quite, because he was impeding the seva. And she was going to give him really nice seva. She was going to give him really nice pleasure. And of course, he's the most charming. He's the most charming. This is Krishna's nature. But at the same time, he was impeding the seva that she wanted to give him. So he had to be punished. So she decided very sternly, I'm going to punish you, Krishna. This is what's going to happen. And I'm going to tie you to this mortar. So she gets rope and she tries to tie him to the mortar, but just, Krishna's little belly's here, the mortar's behind him, and she ties around and she's 2 fingers too short. And these 2 fingers represent something. But we'll talk about that after. So she says, okay, no problem. Now at this time, the other, the Sakyas, or the friends of Krishna arrive. And also some of the other mothers arrive, like Rohini and others. And the boys, Balaram and all the boys, some of the friends also arrive. I don't remember all of them, but like Sridham and Dam and so on, also arrive. And now they're seeing that Krishna is trying to be, actually no, they didn't arrive yet, I apologize. First, some of the mothers also arrived and saw that Yashoda was struggling to tie Krishna. And she was very, very much upset, but she was also charmed. She was charmed to see, just see, 2 fingers too short, all right, we'll get another rope. But then she tied another rope, it should be easy, It's logic. If you have a certain amount of rope, and you put it this much more rope, if you were 2 fingers too short before, easily should be tied. Mission accomplished. But she actually saw that again she tied it around and it was 2 fingers too short. She said, oh my God, what is this? So she's going through all kinds of thoughts of who Krishna is, but she was like, no, I don't care what type of personality you are. You must be tied. You have done, you have impeded the seva for you. You're being so naughty. This is not going to be good for you. You must be punished. So again, she keeps getting rope, and now other village ladies are also joining in and giving her more rope, more servants or others in the palace. But every time 2 fingers too short. But she was not giving up, and not only that, she was putting even more endeavor in than before. Sweating. It's mentioned in the Damodarastakam how she's like sweating and everything's coming undone in her hair and so on, so that she can finally tie him. And then finally, the 2 finger gap was finally brought together. And our acharyas explain there's 2 things that bring the 2 fingers to the close finally, where God could be conquered, God could be bound. And do you know what they are?
Kripa and bhajan.
Kripa and bhajan. I told you he was definitely more advanced than I was. Kripa is mercy. Krishna's mercy, and bhajan is worship, and also the word I heard was endeavor. Because we also remember in the beginning we have to do some type of activity, bhajana kriya, some type of activity of worship. Make some type of an endeavor towards Krishna. That might be chanting japa, that might be going out and doing kirtan, sharing harinam, hearing bhagavatam, so many things, spiritual endeavors. But despite all of your endeavors, without Krishna's kripa, without his mercy, it will not come together. You can't achieve the object of which is Krishna. So Mother Yashoda had already achieved Krishna, but now she wanted to achieve the pastime of binding Krishna, of punishing Krishna, chastising him for his naughtiness. He cannot go out into the world and be a good citizen if he's such a bad boy. He has to be chastised. So Mother Yashoda, finally, after all of her endeavor towards Krishna, he released the kripa, which was the mercy. And for you too, this is the process. You have to give your endeavor. And as much, even if it's short, it's not like, alright, rope was too short, I give up. I tried. It's not like, alright, twice, I tried again, rope was too short, no problem. You keep trying, and you keep trying, and you keep trying, until you get Krishna. That is the process. You just keep going. And then eventually, Krishna will give you his mercy. We have so many acharyas, they sing songs. Like this, Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande, Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. This whole song is one of the lines. I couldn't quote it for you. Maybe Vrindavan Chandra could quote it. But Krishna is saying, or Rupa Goswami is saying that even you can't be achieved. Even Brahma can't even get a glimpse of the tips of your toenails. But still, I know you also can make the impossible possible. So please give me your mercy. So like this, we must have this mood where we must keep trying to approach Krishna. Not like, oh, I tried and I didn't have time, I had too much schoolwork, oh, I tried it, and no, keep going over any obstacle. Keep endeavoring. And then eventually Krishna Kripa will come. And you will be, in this instance, Mother Yashoda was able to tie Krishna. And it was achieved. But the story is not over. Now Krishna is tied. And then, on top of it, now the other mothers, and I believe, yes, like Rohini, but I think, no, first it was just the Sakyas. The Sakyas come, because they come in the morning to come with Krishna. They're getting ready to go out for the cowherd activities for the day. But now they see Krishna tied up, and they're saying, who has done this? Who has tied our Krishna up like this? How could they do like this? And so they were very discouraged to see Krishna. And actually they tried to untie him. Now, I didn't know this part. I actually read this just the other day. They tried to untie Krishna. Have you heard this before? No, I had no idea. But do you know why they could not untie Krishna?
The Sakya Rasa is not more powerful than Vatsalya Rasa.
Yes, my gosh. I'm so glad Vrindavan Chandra has come today. That's exactly why. Yes, because Sakya Ras is less than Vatsalya Ras. In the scale of Ras, this is actually the case. Vatsalya Ras is stronger. There's more prem in Vatsalya Ras than there is in Sakya Ras. Now they also explained that Baladev, who's Krishna's brother, was in Sakya Ras. He had some tinges of Vatsalya Ras too, but not stronger than Mother Yashoda, so he couldn't untie. But what actually happened was, Krishna, because he's kind of like a great hero, he's like, well fine, I'll just take this mortar with me. And then he starts to crawl with the mortar. And so they're following Krishna with the mortar. And Krishna also, he knew that one of his devotees, Narada Muni, had put some other sons of Kuvera, Kuveratmajo Badha Murtyai Vayad. We're going to sing about this whole pastime. We sing about it every night, so I might as well tell you what it means that we're singing. So, yes, he remembers that, well, maybe this will be a good time that I can release them. So he goes with the mortar and he crawls in between the tree. And so the tree, the way it looked is there was a fused stump and there were two large branches that went up simultaneously. And each branch was this was another pastime now, but Nalakuvara and Manigriva, they were sons of Kuvera. Kuvera was the great demigod of wealth, and their sons, just like, I don't know, have you ever met the sons of like rich people in your life? Yeah, they're like a little spoiled and, nose up in the air, My wife, has a saying, when someone's like that, she's like, oh, they were like this, the nose up in the air type of thing. Well, anyway, they thought they were the greatest thing since sliced bread. And so they were just enjoying with all the heavenly damsels in the river. Naked and, having all kinds of sporting activities. But all of a sudden, Narada Muni is coming along the path. But when they saw Narada Muni, the heavenly damsels, the Apsaras, they were like, oh my God, we cannot be like this before Narada Muni. So they ran out of the water and they clothed themselves. But Manigriva and Alakuvara, they were so intoxicated, one. And two, they were so much in material ecstasy, you could say, of trying to have all this sex life with these women in the water, that they said, where are you going? They didn't care at all that Narada Muni is coming. Where are you going? Come back, it doesn't matter, come here. And just completely ignored Narada Muni being there. So then Narada Muni, out of his great mercy, saw these fallen people. So he actually shouted in anger. And he's saying, I curse you. If you want to act like this, you can't even cover before me. I curse you to be like trees. And so this was actually Narada's compassion. Narada's not an angry person. He's not usually one to curse one. But he actually, even his curse is his great affection. So he had given his great affection to Manigriva and Alakuvara, and he said, the consolation is that you will be released by the Supreme Lord himself when he comes in the house of Nanda Maharaj, which would be Krishna many years later. So now Krishna is ready to release them. I think it was like 415 million years they had to do in that position I was reading, that's a long punishment. But I guess if you're that audacious, what's 415 million years? So anyway, long story short, don't disrespect sages. If saintly people are coming, any type of sinful activity that you're doing, please stop immediately and offer your respects to the saintly people. Or you could look at a 415 million year sentence of being a tree. which is what happened to Manigriva and Nalakavar. And they were really well situated. They had all kinds of money. They had all kinds of, everything that you could imagine. Most beautiful women, all things like that. But yeah, they had a really bad situation happen because they were quite arrogant. So anyway, these are all lessons, Leelas for us. But now Krishna is ready to release them. And so he tries to he tries to break the rope actually. He tries to break the rope by pinning the mortar in between the trees and to keep crawling and to try and break through the rope. And Krishna is like a great hero, so he's killed demons, this, that, and the other. It should be no problem to break a rope. But he could not break a rope, but instead what he did break was the whole trees. The whole trees came crashing down. Can you imagine what I'm talking about? A fused trunk here and two trees coming up like this, and the mortar gets caught in between the trees, and he's trying to use the trees as kind of the bracer to break the rope that's binding him. But instead, he knocks the whole trees down instead. This is the power of Krishna. But this is also the power of Mother Yashoda's binding. It wasn't ordinary rope that bound Krishna. It was the Vatsalya Prem. It was her love that Krishna stay bound. And Krishna is now only acting in such a way to display that love to all of us now many years later. And we chant about it. That's what the Damodarastakam is. I'm sorry I'm going a little over time. But this is one of the symptoms of Harikatha. Once you start talking you'll just keep going and going and going. But that's okay. This is very dear to Krishna, and also apparently this is going to be all of your life and soul anyway. So the tendency to run away from Bhagavatam class, or oh my gosh, he's doing Harikatha again, that will, it's probably a symptom that I'm not sharing the Harikatha very nicely. But if I was sharing the Harikatha nicely, you should run towards it. That would be a better idea. But anyway, so now the trees get knocked down, and all of a sudden, and it'll explain how the rope breaks as well. The trees get knocked down, and now these two shining demigod personalities come out of the trees, Nalakavar and Manigriva, and they start praying and circumambulating Krishna. They start circumambulating him. And all the friends, the Sakyas, Balaram, they're also little boys too, Dam, Sudam, and they're all like watching, wow, oh my gosh, Krishna just knocked down trees and this whole thing happened. So, and next thing you know, they start ascending towards the heavenly planets, offering obeisance and ascending. Their punishment was over. So I actually also think I read something that they ended up coming back and taking a position in Vrindavan. I just read that. I have to review what I read, but that was what I read, that they actually came back and took a position in Vrindavan and actually got the association. Being part of Krishna's Leela of a more intimate space than being just going back to the heavenly planets. I've never heard this before, so I have to review it, but that's a very interesting concept. But what I do remember now is that now the villagers of Vrindavan have noticed these two crashing trees just came down, and that makes a loud sound, so everyone's like, what was that? So now all the other mothers are coming, Mother Rohini, Nanda Maharaj, all of the village elders, they're all coming. And Mother Yashoda as well. And every time something bad happens, Mother Yashoda is like shell-shocked, like stunned. So she just gets stunned. She sees these fallen trees in the mortar and Krishna, and she just is stunned. Nanda Maharaj, he runs over there, and he actually, he's asking, what has happened? What has happened? And the boys are saying, Krishna, Krishna, he's under the trees. So he runs over, and they tell, he actually is able to untie Krishna. Now I'll explain how he actually unties Krishna, because actually Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj should not have been able to untie Krishna, actually, by himself at least. But we'll explain that in due time. But he goes to untie Krishna, and he asks what happened. And all the little boys are saying that, well, Krishna was bound by the mortar, And he came over here, and he was crawling, and the trees fell down, and these two shining personalities came out, and they're explaining this. In Krishna book, this is all actually explained, and in Bhagavatam. So Nanda Maharaj, he can't believe that. He's like, oh, these kids are crazy. They're just coming up with imaginary stories. But he did see that Krishna was bound. And he said, who bound him? And they said, Mother Yashoda bound him. That's what they said, is Mother Yashoda. And he decided that he will give the worst punishment to her that a husband can give a wife. And I actually learned a lesson. If my wife does something that really displeases me, this will be my new reaction. And the new reaction is he will not speak to her for the rest of the day. That's he will not even acknowledge her existence. So he was so angry at her for binding Krishna because he felt that she had contributed to him being put in danger by binding him like this. So he was able to untie it. But he was not able to untie it on his own strength. It's not that he had greater... Like the Sakyas, they tried to untie it, but they could not. But Nanda Maharaj was able to untie it because at that point, Mother Yashoda wished for Krishna to be untied from what she saw of the trees being knocked down. Now she was caring for Krishna's well-being, and she wanted... So the rope was already broken. Now it was just mere rope holding him. So Nanda Maharaj untied it. So this is actually the pastime. Then there is some more extensions to the pastime if you wanted to know more. That Krishna, Nanda Maharaj was very angry at Mother Yashoda, like a husband to a wife. Sometimes we can get very angry with our spouse, and vice versa. But he was very, very angry with Mother Yashoda, and actually, he considered, and this may not be politically correct. He considered like chastising her physically. And Krishna ran up to Nanda and he grabbed his hand and he said, no, don't do like this. Because he actually was considering with Krishna, he's like, should I beat her? For what she has done. Because he was asking how he, like this. And
I think on Nanda's side,
yes.
I think he was just kind of playing Krishna. I think he was trying to induce Krishna's love out. I don't think really he was.
Okay. No, that's I don't know very much about these. I'm only repeating what I read today. But that may be the case. I don't know. But Krishna came and said no, and he grabbed Nanda's hand. And so maybe it was an exchange of love. I don't know. We don't know. I don't know. Maybe he knows, as many people may know, but I don't know. But Krishna grabbed Nanda's hand and said no, like please. And then he went to Mother Yashoda and was rectified. Even she was actually the most distraught of the whole one. She was stunned and couldn't speak and couldn't talk. She was so disturbed when Krishna knocked down those trees and that he was potentially in danger. And always she's the one who's the most stunned. Has the highest devotion in that. So a lot of times we only have little Gopalji here we'll offer lamps to, but a lot of times you'll offer both to little Damodar and Mother Yashoda, depending on where you are and what your mood is during this pastime. So that is the pastime. I went over time, I hope you don't mind, but can we offer some lamps to and sing the Damodar Astakam? But now when we sing it, we can at least know the pastime. I'm sorry there's no time for questions and discussions, but the pastime was quite nice and I wanted to tell you guys the pastime. But was that good enough? Okay. So, Vrindavan Chandra, thank you for coming and adding necessary commentary here. So you're our special guest. We're so happy you've come. And that's so nice that you're in town. And please come visit again if you're ever in town.
I'm traveling. I've been traveling, doing preaching this whole summer.
Okay, wonderful. So this could be a place you could always come if you.
Yeah, I
if you
was living at Bhagavad actually in Ellenville for some time.
Oh, very nice. Yeah,
I was
yes.
cooking over there for
All right.
the Raman Bihari and the Sakis.
Oh, this is so wonderful. Actually, we visited there during the
Good.
Ratha Yatra. We brought like a whole group over there for the New York Ratha Yatra. So please come visit again. So happy. So, would you guys like to chant? Subhadra, may I request your help here with Mridanga? Do you play any instruments? Do you chant?
Yeah, yeah.
Would you like to sing the bhajan?
No, you express how you like. I like to follow.
Only
I'm
if
a
you.
supporter.
Okay, I'll be very happy. I do like to sing, but I actually like when other devotees sing very nicely. So if you could sing, that would make me even happier. But I don't want to put you in an uncomfortable position either.
I can chant one bhajan.
Yes, you can do the Damodarastakam for us. That would be so wonderful.
But no, I can't do Damodarastakam.
Okay, so we were gonna do Damodarastakam and offer a lamp.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so that's okay.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so thank you. I would love though if later on, before you go, if you wanted to, whoever's here, if they want to chant bhajan with you, I would think that would be so wonderful. So did we even offer yet? Okay, good thing I'm late because the prasadam's also late. So, all right. All right, everyone. We're gonna offer a deep, a lamp. You can, offer it to the feet. If you know some more elaborate ways to offer, there are more elaborate ways to offer. To all the personalities on the altar, yes. You know what you can do? Why don't you offer it to Sachi Sutta Nitai only, and then we'll offer over here the lamps. Or we could actually close Narasimha and them, and then hope that they get it. But we'll offer the lamps over here. That's I think the best thing we can do. Okay. So if you need to Google it to get the words, you can Google it. Maybe some can help. Maybe the young people can help some of the older generation get access to the bhajan. That might be very nice. Namaheshwaram Sahachidanandadurupam Rasakundalam Gokule Vajanam. Namaheshwaram Sahachidanandadurupam Rasakundalam Gokule Yashoda Biyoluka Radhavamana Paramishtamatanta Todjatya Gopya Yashoda Rudantam Muhornetrayumamrijantam Padam Boja Yugnena Shatankanetram Rudantam Muhornetrayumamrijantam Padam Boja Yugnena Shatankanetram Muhashvasa Kankatri Slita Graivam Damodaram Bhakti Namo Radhikaya Tvagya Priyaya Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Tubhya Namo Radhikaya Tvagya Priyaya Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Tubhya Sakundalam Gopula Jamana
Krishna
shine. So thank you guys so much for joining us. The prasadam is just being distributed amongst the Guru Parampara and all of the Vaishnavas. So thank you so much for joining us. Special guests, Maha and Subhadra, thank you for making the way from Cornell. And Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu, thank you for making the way in your travels. You're always welcome here. Please take my number and tell me if you're ever passing through, or if you need a hot spot in the area, this could be one. We happily request you. We love when devotees visit us. So this is very nice. And yeah, everyone else who came as well, thank you guys so much. As you know, this is a free endeavor. But any help or support, it really helps. So thank you guys so much. And you guys can go in this way. They've got a serving team ready to prepare prasad. We're ready to serve you all prasad. And so please take prasad. And yeah, thank you so much. Very good.
Thanks for joining online.
Actually, all I have is my brother's gun, which was signed in there.
So what do you think? How do you think it looks? Well, no, that's good.
But when you're I'm like, how about, well, we can make it follow. I go, never.
Got you off for 52.
Take care of yourself.
They didn't respond as quickly as they did last time.
It's the weekend.
They're crucial to me.
I hadn't checked my phone today either.
Yeah, you just don't know. So we'll probably go back and forth a few times, right? That's usually how it works. So.
Hopefully they don't call me and say it's sold.
I know, that's what I was thinking. Let's see.
But I'm thinking maybe it's a heist, the best coffer heist in this.